Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain in the meantime. All right, guys. So last week I mentioned we played in the Canada Cup. This week I do have to mention something came out of that that's worth talking about. And he's actually been on the conversation topic since the release of Thor. Let's not kid ourselves. Since Thor started as a set, and we saw this character, we sort of kind of had to look at this guy and go, is this guy going to make a difference in the game? The answer is yes. And that character, who's now got an episode devoted to himself, he's now entered the realm of the world of Jakeem Thunder and the Zombie Super Skrull, among other things, is the Uni-Mind. I'll get a good look at him. The Uni-Mind, for relevant point discussion, is playable at either 275 or 150, but that's just his base cost. Now, let's note what's specifically on the dial is that 275 or 150 point cost comes with a 10 range with 2 targets, the power cosmic team ability, which means he's effectively got willpower, improved targeting, ignore hindering, and can shoot out of base, and he does have a pair of traits. The pair of traits is where he really starts to shine. For the most part, his powers are on dial. Like, they're what you see is what you get powers for the most part. And then there's a defense power that he gets on a couple of his points, which is a defense power that reads Perfect Molecular Control, Stop, Impervious and Regeneration. Really annoying. And I'll tell you, it's whenever he would normally cross a line or die. So get ready for those. A really, really difficult character to take down. Now, it is a defense power, so Green Arrow does come to mind as a way to attempt to finish him off. But let's talk about what he has as far as traits are concerned. First is his Forged in Blue Flame trait. This is the thing that his engine, basically. Where during force construction, you may include a number of different characters in your sideline with the Eternal keyword. He does have the Eternal and Cosmic keywords as well. Adding 5 points to Uni-Mind's point cost for each. So effectively, he starts at 150 or 275 and goes up by 5 points for each character that you add. If it starts at 150 points, you may include up to 3. If it starts at 275, you may include up to 5. I'm not going to worry about the 370 point because it's a metafix. We talk about competitive play. Actually, let's talk about the 370 because I just realized Rock Cup's around the corner and they are playing a 400 point limited event for the semifinal. If it starts at 370 points, you may include any number of Eternals. I think that number 5 though is enough in the set of Thor. I might be wrong. We'll have to take a look at that. The included characters must be used at their highest point value and be turned to their starting click. These are all important parts of the building of this. And now, underlined here, because they do this now for beginning of the turn effects, the beginning of each turn, and whenever Uni-Mind takes damage, you may choose one standard power a chosen character can use, and Uni-Mind can use the power until it chooses again. When Uni-Mind would be KO'd, instead replace it with all the chosen characters on their last non-KO clicks, placing them within 4 squares of it. Those characters can't be healed this game, and this trait has protected Pulse Wave, meaning any power that he's going to gain from this ability is not going to be able to be ignored or affected by Pulse Wave. So if you chose Impervious from one of those characters and they're attacking with a single target Pulse Wave, you're still going to get to roll your Impervious. Or if you happen to have Invincible, you got your -2 to the damage. Go for it, guys. That's a big portion of why he's very potent. The second part is even crazier. Channel vast reserves of cosmic energy. Free. Until your next turn, Uni-Mind can't use the Power Cosmic Team ability, but can use Perplex and Willpower. When it uses Perplex, it may modify a combat value by +2 or -2 instead. This turn, it may use Perplex an additional time for every 2 characters with the Eternal keyword on your sideline that it can choose powers from. Now, what's worth noting here, at 150 points, only play two sideline characters. Don't bother with the third. You're just investing in extra powers. You're not going to get the full brunt of it, and there's enough of these characters with the Eternals keywords that you don't need that from Uni-Mind. There's enough power combinations on enough characters we can talk about on another. That's another thing in its own. I'm not going to give you the answers as to which Eternal characters you want to put on the sideline. Pull out your Eternals, see what's good with him, pick your powers, pick them good. Pick them real good. And then now that +2 bonus that he gets for multiple Eternals on the sideline, try to keep to your even number ones. But if you have just 2 and you're playing him at 150, let's say as an example, so 150 becomes a 160 point character with the ability to use Perplex twice at +2. That is not limited to non-damage stats, by the way. So he could be, if he chose to target himself, attacking with a 13 attack and 6 damage with Psychic Blast. He could be a 13 attack with 4 damage with Close Combat Expert with a 20 defense. This is just with his first click. And he also starts with Mind Control, so it could be a 12 range, 13 attack Mind Control that ignores hindering and can shoot out of base. I'm just waiting for you to stop making that face, because that was a pretty awesome face, by the way. What's more is if you happen to play him as a one-man army at 275 points, you could be talking about a choice of power with +2 to 3 stats on your stat line that starts with a 12 attack with 4 damage with probability control. Again, that 10 range. Holy smokes, this is a potent character. And if you're playing in that 400 limited rock event and you really just want to bring one character with a bunch on the sideline, let's talk about 370 points that can have 10 range with +2 to, I don't even know if there's enough Eternals to give it 4 different stats. That's all stats. You can go +2 to all your stats, just lose Power Cosmic. Of course, if you get your Perplex outwitted, that could be problematic. But again, hopefully by this time Amber has talked about duration effects and outwit and whatnot. If not, holy smokes, we're going to try to get that episode out soon. By the way, Amber, I hope you know what episode you're doing next. Anyway, Uni-Mind is potent. He's strong, and with the backup of Eternals that's available to him and the power selection that you can get out of them, some of them have powers that give you multiple other powers in a single go. Others give you utility powers that he seems to lack. If you're not playing the 370 point version, you have like the 150 point version. Thena is a good option to give him running shot to match that Psychic Blast that he has. You've got Michaelis that has Super Senses and Hypersonic are a good combination of powers. One thing that's really notable is if you're playing in a 300-point tournament and you happen to want to run the 150-point version, a good friend to him would be Ajax. A lot of people at this tournament, I think 2 out of the 3 players who were playing the Uni-Mind, note all 3 players that I know of that were playing Uni-Mind made it to the top 8 as well. 2 of them, at bare minimum, were using Ajax. And Ajax has a special probability control where he can use probability control twice as long as his first target has the Eternal keyword. So now you've got a minimum two-figure theme team with one character being able to use probability control twice. I love that face you're making, by the way. Yeah, Uni-Mind is a very potent figure, very much worth paying attention to in the competitive game. If you use him, the power you choose is very, very closely protected from Pulse Wave, but if you're using your Perplexes, you become vulnerable to Outwit. So make sure you maintain the range. His range lead, though, is absolutely bananas compared to most other characters. He can easily outrange Jakeem Thunder with very little effort. It's the potency on this character is unheard of on any level that we've ever seen. The only issue he suffers from is short dial syndrome, SSD, and that can be managed by choosing the correct powers on the side of him. You know, whatever powers you choose for him from the Eternals characters, be smart about those to help keep him alive. He's not super Pulse Wave. He doesn't immediately lose for Pulse Wave, but if he does take some damage, he starts to become the closer and closer he gets to the KO click, the more and more he is vulnerable to just outright dying to a Green Arrow. So be aware with him. Note what's going around, but like a a good player, good solid character, and a good player are an evilly scary combination with the Uni-Mind. Very, very close to rivaling Jakeem Thunder, if not surpassing him. I haven't had enough of a variance table to look at how he matches up, because not enough Jakeem Thunder showed up at Canada Cup for me to know if he trounces him. And the only time I saw Uni-Mind play against Jakeem Thunder, he did lose to it, but that was in the final, and that was a very close fought game. That wasn't a complete sweep. So with these facts in mind, make your picks when you're making your teams. Uni-Mind is a good option. Don't discount him if you have discounted him. And I take back any discounting of him that I may have done in the past. On the Meta Lab, we get a lot of the times when we're talking about our predictions with characters, we're shooting from the foot or shooting from the hip. We haven't seen them in action, haven't dealt with them, haven't managed around them, so we have to kind of make ourselves a little bit more aware before we can make educated decisions. But that said, put a Uni-Mind on a team, give him a try, give him a good squirrely run. See how he works with Ajax. The combination of him and Ajax can really mess with people who are trying to use equipment that's on board. Those two in combination can really mess with the 400-point limited format that's just around the corner at the Rock World Cup, which we're going to be talking about very soon in great detail. So, work it all out, guys. Check what you want to do and try out a Uni-Mind team and get some practice with him, because practice will make you better with him.